Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Let me see. I'm trying a new software here tonight, as you can tell up in the corner there. My friend, the Mallard Duck, trying StreamYard tonight, see how it goes. Welcome to another episode of American Soccer Quick Kicks. First time doing this, I think, in 3 weeks. I'm your host, David Wright, and we have a lot to talk about. The U.S. have games coming up starting Friday of this week. And we have the roster. We're going to talk about the roster, and a lot of scrutiny for the player selection that Pochettino's, what he's done with roster selections this year is causing a lot of anxiety, a lot of angst, a lot of frustration, and September didn't do much to soften our fears. So we're going to dig into the October roster a little bit. First, I want to touch on a couple of news items. Last Wednesday was trophy night. We had 3 different trophies awarded, 3 different competitions. First of all, the Campeones Cup was played. That's the one-off match between the defending champions of both MLS and Liga MX. The LA Galaxy played Toluca tough, equalized twice over the course of the match, but still ultimately gave up late winner. So congratulations to Toluca for being the Campeones Cup champion this year. Liga MX takes Campeones Cup where MLS took Leagues Cup. Canadian Championship, that's the domestic cup in Canada. It was a Vancouver versus Vancouver final with the Vancouver Whitecaps of MLS getting the best of Vancouver FC of the Canadian Premier League. So we have Thomas Mueller once again adding to his personal trophy collection. So congratulations to Vancouver Whitecaps for their for their win in the domestic cup, and also books them for the 2026 CONCACAF Champions Cup. And speaking of domestic cups, we had the U.S. Open Cup final also between Austin and Nashville, played in Austin. Nashville got the best of that. So congratulations to Nashville. I'm a big fan of theirs. They're my second team behind Atlanta, and they lift their first trophy in club history. Everybody is absolutely excited about it. They had a huge turnout at the stadium on Sunday just for the fans to just celebrate this trophy win, and also puts them in CONCACAF for next year. We've also got some retirement announcements. So if you want to see these Barcelona boys playing in MLS, you have 2 more chances to see them because we are getting a limited slate of league matches during this international window, and Miami is a part of that limited slate because they have a game to make up. And then everybody in the league is going to be playing on October 18th. That's the final match day of the regular season. And Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba have both announced their retirements. So this is your last couple of chances to see them play. And then if you're a fan of MLS, then you know who Darlington Nagbe is. He played a little bit with the U.S. He's played for Portland, Atlanta, and Columbus. He's won MLS Cups in all 3 cities for a total of 4 MLS Cups, 3-time All-Star. He's won a Campeones Cup. He's won U.S. Open Cup. One of the absolute best MLS lifers the league has ever seen, and a super, super nice, cool guy. He's also going to be hanging it up at the age of 35. So if you're an MLS fan, then you know who Darlington Nagbe is. All right. I want to go ahead and get to the October roster for, let me see. Look at this. How about that? All right. So we have the October roster. So this is very different from what we got in September. And I think it should do a lot to make us feel better about what Pochettino is looking at for his best players. My thumbnail says, is this any better? The quick, easy answer is yes, this is better. We're going to dig into this a little bit, position by position, but what you're going to see is a lot more players that are playing professionally in Europe. And when I say Europe, I'm including England, and a lot fewer MLS players. Those that are still here, I think we can start to get a pretty clear picture of how important they are to Pochettino. And those that are missing for no real reason other than they're just not, they're just not here. Those snubs, for whatever reason, Pochettino has identified as guys he apparently just is not interested in, and we're not going to see them. So we're going to dig into that a little bit also. So without any further ado, I'm going to try to switch over to my share screen here and see what we can pull off. And let's get rid of this and let's go to here. How about that? All right. So first thing, goalkeepers. It's a 26-man roster for this camp, and we will be taking 26 to the World Cup. I guarantee you we're not going to be taking 4 goalkeepers. Serginho Dest is a key player who's not here due to injury. Ricardo Pepi is also not here due to injury. And I think if either one of those guys had been healthy and been able to come to this camp, I don't think we would have Chris Brady on this list. He's never been capped. He plays for Chicago. He's starting to get these looks, but we should not expect to see him play in these matches. I guess I should say our next match is Friday, October 10th. We're going to be playing Ecuador, and then we're going to be playing Australia on the 14th. So those are the 2 matches for this camp. Don't expect to see Brady playing those. Also, don't expect to see Schulte. Clearly, Matt Freese and Matt Turner are the top 2 goalkeepers for the U.S. right now, and they are competing for that number 1 spot. Matt Turner was the incumbent. He seems to have lost that job to Matt Freese. Turner's done what he needed to do, which is get back to MLS so he can play regularly. He did not get called up in September. And Matt Freese, meanwhile, has played well for Pochettino this year, including the Gold Cup and in the previous friendlies. I have to assume that we're going to see these 2 guys split time across the 2 matches. If we don't, if one guy plays every minute of the 2 matches, and I mean, if that happens, it's going to be Freese, I suspect. And I think that will send a very clear signal that he's got the job locked up, that it's his. I hope that's not the case. I hope Matt Turner gets a chance to win his job back. And I hope that starts with giving him one of these games. So I'm rooting for Matt Turner just kind of personally. And we'll see what goes on with that. Somebody tell me, because I don't really know, which one of these goalkeepers is better with his feet and playing out of the back with their feet if they have to. And the reason I'm asking that question, I will get to before we're done tonight. So anyway, I want to move on. Okay. So let's look at these defenders. Can I get them all in? Yeah. So we have 8 defenders listed here. Okay. If you've been following the U.S. team this year in 2025, you've been following this Pochettino summer with the Gold Cup and the September friendlies, you have now become familiar with the names Max Arfson and Alex Freeman. These are the outside backs. Max Arfson plays for Columbus. Freeman plays for Orlando. He is the son of the NFL great Antonio Freeman, if you remember that name. These guys play in MLS, and they play fullback. And they have played a lot for Pochettino. And despite the how should I say, the increased pedigree of this roster, they still find themselves being called into this camp. These are clearly Pochettino guys, and they are clear winners of the Pochettino era. And for whatever reason, he's really big on them. Names that you're going to be familiar from earlier in the year include Tim Ream and Chris Richards. These guys appear to be our top 2 center backs in the pool. We expected Tim Ream to have aged out by now, and he's 38. He's going to be almost 39 when the World Cup's taking place, but just nobody has really stepped up to take the job away from him for the U.S. So these 2 guys remain our top picks at center back, apparently. I mean, just observing the coaching patterns and stuff like that. But let's go back up. So Cameron Carter-Vickers, Mark McKenzie, they play in Europe, and they have never really been able to excel for the national team. But these are guys that, like I said, they're playing. If you're an American and you make the move to Europe, you're already better, right, than most Americans. I mean, if you're an MLS lifer and you've never even had the opportunity to go to Europe, then I don't see how you can be considered among the best at your position. I just don't. The fact that Carter-Vickers and McKenzie are playing overseas is great. And we want to see that quality in this roster. I'm trying to pace my thoughts here. Put a pin in those names because I'm going to come back to them also when we're talking about the midfielder. I've got stuff I want to say about that. I want to say about these European-based professionals that we want to see, that we need to see, but there's still a concern of are we seeing them too late? And that's kind of my basic concern. And I'll get into that more in just a little bit. Anthony Robinson, that is Jedi. All right, that's Jedi Robinson. He's the guy that's on the left back, our first choice left back, world-class player, has been hurt. We haven't seen him a lot. We haven't seen him any as far as I can recall this year. Great to see him in camp. He is the guy that you want starting left side. Miles Robinson plays in MLS. He's with Cincinnati, and he's going to be a center back. So, a couple of things. Who's not here? Serginho Dest is not here. Well, it's not his fault. He's been hurt. Okay, so ideally we'd have Jedi and Dest on the outside. But I want you to look at this. Look at this. Max Arfston, Anthony Robinson are left backs. Alex Freeman is a right back. And that's it. Out of these 8 names, 5 of them are center backs. And we only have one who's a natural right back. So obviously that's a depth issue on that side of the field. We got to hope nothing happens to Alex Freeman. He's the only right back we have in this camp. And then you've got on the left, you have Jedi, who's everybody agrees is world-class talent, should be our starter. But in the same position, you have one of Pochettino's favorites in Max. But we have 5 center backs, and it's almost like overloaded at center back, not enough at right back. What do you think that means? Or not enough on fullback? What does that mean? Well, to me, that is a strong indicator that we're going to see a 3-back system again. We're going to see a 3-back formation, which I'm excited about, and I'm glad we're doing it. And I'm going to get into a little bit more of that formation in just a second. Because if you're going to be playing a 3-back system, then you need more center backs. It sounds a little counterintuitive if you're not familiar. A 4-back system actually only uses 2 center backs, where a 3-back system is using 3. So you need more guys, and you need to be able to rotate across the 2 matches. So the fact that we're overloaded on center backs is a strong indicator to me that we are going to get once again, we're going to see that 3-back system. Let's go to midfielders. Brendan Aronson plays in England and has been struggling. He gets another look here. I don't know if he's really improved any since the last time we saw him. I like him. I've enjoyed watching him play. I've been watching him for a few years, but he's been struggling, and I also don't think he's turned the corner. So it's a little bit surprising to see him here. We all love Diego Luna. He plays for Salt Lake. It's great to see him here. McKinney is back. Okay, this is fantastic. Look at these names: Aiden Morris, James Sands, Tanner Tessman, Malik Tillman. They all play overseas. Okay, so, now at least in the case of Aiden Morris, he's playing the 2nd division. He's playing for the English Championship. But these are names we want to see, right? This is we're minoring on MLS, right? Diego Luna. Let's see who else. Christian Roldan. That's it. The rest, those are the only 2 MLS players here, which means that we've got 6 that are coming from overseas. Mr. McKinney, one of our big names. So here's what I want to pick up on when I was talking about Cameron Carter-Vickers and Mark McKenzie. And here we can add to what I'm going to say. We can add the names Aiden Morris, James Sand, Tanner Tessman. So, yes, these guys are playing overseas. So the conventional wisdom tells you that they probably are better than any MLS guys we can plug in there, like we've seen this year, like Sebastian Berhalter or Luca De La Torre. But they haven't played for Pochettino. I mean, if he just hasn't. I feel like these are the names that we should have gotten in September. And I don't know if we have enough time left. That's my basic concern. These are still new names. They're still coming together for the first time under this coach. Is it too late for this to come together? And Pochettino has a comfort level with the team that he called in for a Gold Cup in September. And now these are new names for him. And even though they have better club pedigree, are they going to show enough this week to make him comfortable with them that fast? I'm concerned about that. I feel better about these names. I'd rather have this roster than the one we had in September, but I just don't know how it's going to shake out in terms of the coach's decisions. I expect McKinney starting. I expect Tillman starting. Roldan is probably here in the Tyler Adams understudy role. Tyler Adams, another big name. He's not on this roster, and the reason why is his wife is giving birth. So he's been excused. So let's go forward, and we come forward here. There are no MLS players in the forward pool. Ajimong was playing for Charlotte when the season started, but he's made the move to the English Championship. So it's good to see all of these names here. Ricardo Pepi, the key one that's missing, but he's also suffering from an injury. Now, I don't want injury's not enough to eliminate somebody, except for the fact that if he keeps missing windows, he's just going to miss his opportunity. If Pepi is not ready to go in the November window for the November matches, I'm concerned about him having a chance to earn a spot on the roster. I don't know if he's going to be able to. If I'm choosing, all right, so real quick, the center forwards, the strikers on this list are going to be Anjimong, Balogun, and Wright could play that, although he can also play on the wing. Okay, so Pulisic, Weah, and Zendejas are all going to be wingers. So this is a good list, and we love to see Pulisic, Weah there. We love to see Balogun there. Look, here are the big names. Okay, Weah, Pulisic, Balogun, McKenzie, Jedi, Chris Richards. These are big names. This is starting to look pretty good. This is getting to the names I expect to see for our World Cup roster. You add Serginho Dest in that, and you add Tyler Adams into that. Now, who are the names that are missing? Who are the losers in this roster call up? Well, Joe Scally is a right back. Okay, here we are with a roster that's short on right backs. We're missing depth at right back. We only have one right back, and he plays for Orlando in MLS. We have Joe Scally, who plays right back for Borussia Mönchengladbach in the Bundesliga, and he plays regularly. He contributes regularly. He's playing fine. He is simply not getting called in. There's no reason not to call him in. And Pochettino has chosen an MLS right back instead, and he's got no others. He's only has one in camp, and it's not the guy from the Bundesliga. So that is not good for Joe Scally. That's a pretty clear indicator that the coach just doesn't rate him, and I don't see how he's going to work his way in at this point. It's unfortunate. I don't watch the Bundesliga. I just know that if you're playing over there and you're starting, hey, you can't be bad. And I don't understand why that's not enough to earn a spot, earn a look with the national team. We're starting to get that feeling that Pochettino just rates MLS a little too much. But anyway, the other big loser is probably Johnny Cardoso. That's still kind of a mystery. I mean, he just got a huge transfer to Atletico Madrid. I mean, he's playing for one of the biggest teams in Europe, and he's playing regularly. He's playing great. Now, he's someone who's never, for whatever reason, has never really taken advantage of his time with the national team. He hasn't really broken out at the international level, but I don't know how you snub him. I feel like he did play in the Gold Cup, and he made a bad mistake in the Gold Cup, and maybe that's enough for Pochettino to say, I don't want to see this guy anymore. But again, someone who plays for a huge club in Europe, and it's not just sitting on the bench, playing regularly, starting, not getting the call. That's really weird to me. So Cardoso and Scally, I think we have to write them out. I think for whatever reason, we should not expect them to make this squad next year. The other names, Yunus Musa and Gio Reyna, we kind of expected that. They are on the outside looking in, I think, at this point. Musa probably has a better chance than Reyna does. He's made a club move, and we'll keep an eye on how he's doing. Reyna started off great with Gladbach, and then he got hurt a little bit. But I also don't know if that is a personality that Pochettino even wants to contend with. I think he's on the outside looking in. So I love Gio Reyna. I love his upside. I want to see him be the best player he can be. And it's a little bit sad to me that he's kind of his own worst enemy. He's kind of put himself on the outside of this whole program for the U.S. Anyway, I want to get into a little bit of the three 4-3 that we expect Pochettino to play. I definitely expect it after seeing this roster when it's so heavy on center backs. So give me a second to switch pictures here. How about that? Pretty slick. We have, this is what a 3-4-3 looks like. A lot of times, last month I was talking a lot about 3-5-2. I said 3-5-2 a lot because when you're in a three-back system, that's kind of, I guess that's where my mind goes. But we actually were not playing a 3-5-2, we're playing a 3-4-3. But the key point here is that we're playing three in the back, and that is a change. We had played 4-3-3 under Berhalter, and we were playing 4-3-3 under Pochettino for a long time. Finally, and a lot of people were calling for this. I found out a lot of people were calling for this. I was calling for it myself before I realized other people were, but I totally agree with them. We needed to try to go to a three-back system because of the personnel that we have and the specific skill sets of the players that we have. A three-back system felt like something that we at least needed to try. And we did try it in September, and we had really good success, at least against Japan. And Japan was not playing their top squad, but in terms of just how the U.S. played, how they got forward, how they were playing together, the ideas they were having, the spaces they were getting into, it all looked a lot better changing into the new formation. So this is what I mean. I just want to try to illustrate this a little bit. This is what I mean by playing three center backs, okay? Center backs are generally going to stay back even when we're in possession. So this is a more it gives you more. This formation gives you more defensive cover while still being able to put numbers forward into the attack. Because what happens is these outside guys, these are wing backs, and they have the entire corridor up and down the field. They have to do a lot of running, but these guys are providing width in the attack and providing late runs into the box. But they're also dropping back when the other team is in possession. So this three-line defense, this three-man defensive line turns into five men very quickly when we need it to. And Jedi Robinson over here and Serginho Dest over here, those are two guys that love to bomb forward. And they almost, it's certainly with Dest, seem like they would rather be attacking than playing defense anyway. So I think wing back suits both of them very good. Now, what does this do? This puts, this formation basically gives you the flexibility of five in the back and five forward, okay? We can get overloaded in the midfield. That's the weakness of the formation. You get the two guys here. You're generally not going to have strong attacking midfielders in this formation because your attack is coming from your top three and your wing backs, okay? It's coming from the outside. And without Reyna, we don't have a strong attacking midfielder, I don't think, in my opinion. I used to believe it was going to be Aronson, but he's fallen off. This is going to be a Tyler Adams or a Weston McKennie, or it might be a Tanner Tessman or an Aiden Morris. But these aren't going to be guys that are going to be, going forward and being the central attacking midfielder and distributing the ball or anything like that. So we have strong wingers and we have strong wing backs, and center back is a position of weakness for us. I said this last time, I think. We have Chris Richards for sure, and we have Tim Ream by default, even though he's old. He still is playing at a high level. And we're having trouble finding somebody younger to take his spot, right? So we're having trouble finding a second quality back, and now we're going to play three of them? Well, I mean, how are we going to find three if we're having trouble finding two? Well, I don't know the answer to that. And I'm not saying Tim Ream's not a bad player. He's just old. He's 38. But if it is a position of weakness, why not add numbers? Why not add bodies to that back line and help each other out? So I think this is the right move. I'm excited to see it. We saw it in September against Japan. Y'all remind me if we saw it against Korea or not. So I'm happy to see this with Jedi in the lineup. We haven't seen Jedi in the lineup. I wish we could get Jedi and Dest at the same time. That'd be nice. But expect to see Pulisic up here. Expect to see Weah up here. Expect to see Balogun here. We get Richards and Ream back here. I don't know who you're going to play at the third right back, at the third center back position. It might be Miles Robinson. It might be Mark McKenzie. We'll have to see. I expect to see. I'm going to just make a prediction. I expect to see McKennie on the field. And I am going to expect to see Aiden Morris get a shot. And I think he might play a slightly more forward than McKinney does. But we'll see how that goes. I want to do one more thing before we're out of here. I want to show you what a 4-back system looks like. This is the 4-3-3 that we used to play. And in this formation, you can control the midfield a little bit better. And you do still, at least with our guys, you're still getting bombing runs from the fullbacks on the outside coming in for late runs, kind of overloaded. I think of the deep runs from the back here. They're kind of like the delayed free safety blitz in football, because is after the defense thinks they have everybody covered, you have that late runner coming in that no one can account for, and he's running free, he's running open. And we would get that. But when you're playing 4-back, what does that mean? That means you only have 2 center backs. And so we were leaving ourselves too vulnerable. We saw it happen in the Gold Cup when Max Arfston playing here would get too far forward. He'd get caught out. And then one of our guys had to drop back and cover for him. And because we were playing with only 2 center backs, and that disrupted our ability to control the midfield. And it just kind of broke down our whole formation, really. So this is something that's very popular. The 4-3-3 is probably the most popular formation in the world right now. But I just think with our specific players, our specific skill sets, I'm going to go back. I think the 3-back system is going to work better for us. Here's the only thing. In order to defeat high pressing teams, the keeper has to be able to play well with his feet. And that's why I was asking earlier, which one of our keepers is best with his feet? Because I think that is something that's a skill that we're going to need in order to defeat the high press when we're playing out of a 3-4-3. But anyway, I do expect to see this again because we have so many center backs in our camp, in this roster. So I'm excited for what this window will show us. I'm glad we have more European professionals on this list. I think we are also getting a little bit of a clearer picture of who Pochettino is putting in his squad and who's going to be left out. I think at this point it's safe to say that Max Arfston and Alex Freeman are going to be at the World Cup, and that Johnny Cardoso and Joe Scally are not. Don't expect to see Reyna. Don't expect to see Musa. But it's going to be interesting to see the goalkeeper battle, the striker battle. Keep an eye on that formation. How many center backs are we playing? What kind of shape are we coming out in? And, what are we going to get from these guys? Because Tessman, Sands, Morris, McKenzie, Carter Vickers, these are guys that have not really gotten a whole lot of time with the national team, but now is a great opportunity for them to make the most of it. So that's where we are. The window is open now. The MLS is going to play through the window, but there's a total of like 5 matches the whole weekend. And then the U.S. has games on Friday and Tuesday. And then after that, the Saturday after that, October 18th, the MLS season will come to a close. By the way, congratulations to Philadelphia Union. They have already clinched the Supporters Shield for this year. So they also have booked their passage to CONCACAF. And after that final match day, we will know all of the MLS teams going to CONCACAF except for whoever wins MLS Cup. So we will find that, and we'll find that out later. So so again, we have Friday night, we're playing Ecuador. Next Tuesday, we're playing Australia. These games are going to be on HBO Max. They're probably on TNT. I think the Spanish language is on Peacock. So I think that's going to do it for me. Thanks for watching. I don't see any questions or comments in the chat, so we'll wrap it up right there. Watch some soccer with me. We'll come back and talk about these games next week. See you next time. And now I'll try to end gracefully.